Hello all, so today we are looking at exercise number 7. So we are going to accomplish sidecar pattern. So what we are going to do here is we are basically going to create a pod which constitutes two containers. So the very first container will be the main container, which will be acting as Nginx web server, which will be serving the incoming request. The second container name will be sidecar container, and it is going to provide little bit of logging and monitoring related functionality. So what we are going to do is, it is basically reading a file error.log, which is getting dumped into your volume mount, and if it finds keywords related to the error, it is going to send a notification. So in our case, we are basically printing that error discovered to the standard output. So let's try to do that, and I will be moving back to my terminal, and I would be getting into my VS Code. So this is the file or the manifest file, I would say, that I am going to make a use of. So you can see if I go to the specs, you can see that in the containers that I'm going to use the image Nginx, and I'm also basically making the use of volume mount. So I'm mounting the path as var log Nginx. The second thing is very important. So we are also creating one more container which will be providing a helper functionality. In our case, the name of the container is sidecar, and I'm basically making the use of image a busy box, and then we are basically making the use of certain shell commands. So for example, you can see here, if I'm trying to read a file error.log, which might be getting dumped to the volume mounts, and if I found the keyword like error, we are basically printing error discovered in our standard output. Okay, so this is what we are going to achieve. So let's move back to my terminal. So what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm showing you the same file. So this is the manifest file which I'm going to make a use of. So same thing which we have seen in a VS Code. So let me exit this. So I will be making the use of declarative method. I would say create, I would say -f for file, and this is the YAML file which I'm going to make a use of. You can see that web server created in my standard output. So now let's try to get pods. You can see that web server is up and running. In the ready status, you can see 2 out of 2 containers are up and running as of now. So if I try to let's say logs web server, it will basically be giving me the logs which might be corresponding to the container which is Nginx, because that is our default or the main container Nginx. So if I were to see the logs of the container which is providing a sidecar functionality, so how will we do that? I would say logs, I would say web server, I would say -c, and the name of the container. You can see that as of now there is no logs corresponding to this sidecar container. So what we are going to do here is, we are going to log in, or we are trying to assume the shell for the sidecar container. So for example, I would say web server, and if I do not explicitly mention sidecar container, by default I will be able to assume a shell for the main container which is Nginx. So I would say like this, I'm going to assume a shell in the interactive mode, and then the command, right? So now I am here. If I say uname -n, you can see that I've already assumed the shell of a pod web server, and for the container sidecar. So now I am going to do one more thing, and we are basically making the use of wget as a command. Well, host. You can see that it has given me a nice output, and similarly I will try to make a use of this command one more time. So again, I have got the message, welcome to Nginx. Now what I'm going to do is wget, I would say local host, and I would say, so you can see that we have got certain error. If I try to exit my shell for the sidecar as a container, so I am done with that. If I try to again print or try to see the logs corresponding to the same container, minus C, I would say sidecar, and you can see that we have got some kind of the error, and because our condition is met, this is the message we are getting in our standard output, right? This is what we really wanted to accomplish in this particular exercise, and I would see you in the next subsequent CKAD exercises, and let me know how did you find this video or this playlist for that matter. Thank you.